if it goes like the rest of my week has went so far, it's probably gonna suck. So let's see who shows up. Let's see. And hopefully the audio's good, guys. I've been fighting with mic placement. I haven't figured out the cord management for this lapel mic. I think I finally got it configured properly, but it really is hard to do that. So this is going to be a viewer-driven live feed. We're going to talk about a couple things I want to talk about, but basically this is going to be y'all talking to me. So I may as well get comfy and go over here and actually sit down and get comfortable. Ooh, this new tripod that came with the new camera, which I'm not using, by the way, is pretty cool. It allows me to just put the camera pretty much anyway here. Ooh, I don't know how that's gonna sit. Bladed Ginger is here. Let me set up these comments to allow all messages. There we go. This could go off the rails pretty quick. I've never done an Ask Me Anything. Here's the thing, you can ask anything if it'll make it through the chat filters. But before we get into that, let me tell you how my week has gone so far. I was in the hospital all day yesterday. So just to get that out of the way. What's up, Chris? Chris Warris, a paying member, by the way. If you guys see that. Lady Ginger, did you end your membership? I thought you were a member. I don't see your mark next to it. Not that it matters. I mean, that's cool. I get it. If you don't like me anymore, I see how it is. But at any rate, so before we get into the you all asking me anything, so I didn't feel good the last few days. I had a low-grade fever on and off. I had a bad headache. And I woke up yesterday morning, and I don't know how well you can still see it. My face is still pretty swollen. I woke up and I had swelling that was going up, clear up into the area of my eye, and it's still kind of red and still kind of swollen. And I really didn't think anything of it, but I was, like I said, had a headache. I woke up a couple days, woke up with a headache like in my eye, and I'm like, it's probably sinuses, and didn't really feel any discomfort in my mouth or anything like that. Well, I woke up yesterday morning at about 3 a.m. and the side of my face was just, like, it was swollen up. It looked like I had a chew of chewing tobacco in, and like the whole side of my face, it was all red and it was hot to the touch. And I'm like, I gotta go to the emergency room because you guys know I take immunosuppressors for an autoimmune disorder, which means that I have a diminished capability of fighting an infection. And so I got to the emergency room, and that's when I was realizing, the dog's got a squeaky toy. I was realizing that when I would touch, I could feel it like in this tooth, and it was horrible. And that was the first that I had really had it hurt. And so they did some a facial CT scan. They did an X-ray, and then they took me up to the dental clinic and had duty dental because this is Naval Hospital. I had a severely infected tooth, and apparently it had been that way for a while. I fell here a few months ago. I slipped in some water that the dog spilled, and I hit my teeth together. And because they were looking at the X-rays, and so that tooth was cracked all the way up through the root when they did the CT scan, and that's what allowed the infection through. So I had some dental work done on it, but yeah, it was, my whole face was swollen. And they're like, we have to pull that tooth. Like, a root canal is not going to do it. The root, it split clear down into the root, and that's how the infection got so bad. And so I'm on my antibiotics and some stuff, but yeah, I'm still really sore. So they yanked that tooth. The young doctor that did it was amazing. She was very nice. She was really worried about how much pain level, and I told her, I was like, I have an insane pain tolerance, ma'am. You don't have to worry about it. And if you guys, the 19 of you that are watching, if you'd be so kind as to click the screen twice and like the video, I would really appreciate it. So yeah, it was one of those things, like they yanked it, and immediate relief. Immediate relief. She said there was a lot of pus that came out because with it being cracked all the way through the root, the tooth came out in like 4 different pieces. No. And so when they got the tooth out, like, the tooth was basically split. So she showed me, and it was like, it was split all the way down through. So even a root canal, they couldn't have really done anything. So in the big scope of things, it's right there. Immediate relief. And she was like, there was a good bit of pus that came out of that pocket. So that's what's happening with me. 4 likes, 20 people, just double tap the screen and it gives you a like. So, I mean, it's still kind of sensitive. Most of that's still infection. So, first things first, what are you guys carrying today? Because it's hot here and it's Monday and stuff like that. So, I'm carrying the Clinch River by Rose Craft Blades. This is an absolutely insane how good this knife is. I like, I'm gonna say something right now. I like the Jack Wolf knives. I love the way that they're doing, bringing, here, let me slide you guys in closer. Here we go, so I can sit back, because I'm tired. Having an infection like that just wears you out. I didn't sleep good last night, because, you know, they pulled a tooth, so it was a little bit painful. At any rate, what I was saying is, I like the Jack Wolf stuff. I like the Jack Wolf stuff, but my problem with it is a traditional knife. I love what they're doing. They're bringing more people into traditional knives. But most of the time, I want a traditional knife that's a traditional knife, not knocking the Jack Wolf knives. They're amazing. I love what they're doing, and they have their place, and I probably am going to get some of them once I get back to work. So this is more of what I'm thinking, more of a traditional knife. It's a great, great knife. And I do like a traditional knife being a traditional knife. I like the stuff Enrique Pena's doing. What do you think about M&P knives by Smith & Wesson? They're all crap. Don't buy those Smith & Wesson Extreme Duty or any of that stuff. They're all garbage. I have some of them here somewhere in a box that we could probably look at in a video. I honestly think they're garbage. Hang on. And it's simply, I need my reading glasses so I don't miss any of your comments, and I'll have a headache if I try to read them. So those M&P knives are usually just horrible. They're just crappy knives. They're done in a crappy steel. They have those. What would you recommend for more of a budget knife? Well, you're in the right place. So I've got some stuff. Would you consider a Buck Squire a traditional? I haven't got to see the Buck Squire, so I don't know. So back to Kill a Bee, what would I recommend for more of a budget knife? I would check out, there's a couple brands. This is the Miguron Knives Valona. I think this is the best all-around budget knife on the market. And 30 of you here, please drop a like. All you gotta do is double tap the screen or hit the 3 little dots and bring it up and like it. That way more people come. So this is probably the best budget knife on the market. I think these are 50 bucks. Petrified Fish, there you go. Petrified Fish, also a good brand. Vosteed Knives. This is an incredible knife, and it finds its way into my pocket so often. This is the Vosteed Mini Nightshade. It's probably got the best axis lock of any knife I've ever had come in that had axis locks. This is a $50 knife that just kicks Benchmade's ass when it comes to the axis lock. And what I mean is how smooth this is. This is the smoothest axis lock knife I've ever had. There's no blade play. I will say on this one, you are going to want to Loctite the pivot when you get it tightened down where you want it, but you've got a great, great knife that just kind of lays into the cut. It is great. It's incredible. It's just an incredible little knife that you can carry in almost any situation. Vosteed has been sending me a bunch of stuff. I love all the Vosteed stuff. Somebody sent something. Skylar Sage is here. Holy crap. How have you been, sir? I got a new phone number. I'll text it to you. Everybody makes a better axis lock than Benchmade. They do. But this, I mean, in a $50 knife, completely frictionless. Completely frictionless. This thing is great. No blade play. And it's just, it's so comfortable to use. There is a full-size version of this knife that it might be what's up your alley if you want a larger knife. I don't think you give up anything by having the smaller version. I think you get all the cutting capability with an ease of carry that is just unmatched by any of the other mini knives I have. This is one of my favorite knives. I was carrying Miguron Moyoro. Had to tighten the pivot and Loctite it. Yeah, I mean, what you're going to run into with a lot of knives, you're going to run into with a lot of knives is you're going to have the pivot, even on more expensive knives. Case in point, I had to play with the pivot to get this tightened, and I put the, I had to put Loctite on this pivot. Let's see here. I gotta get my reading glasses because I'm old, guys. I'm old and I'm tired and my face hurts. Trying to get back to an end tack. Also, are you into any Medford's? Why or why not? Okay. I'll be honest. I fucking hate Greg Medford, and I would not support his company by purchasing a knife he makes. I don't like him. I don't like him. I think he's very, very, very racist, and everybody's like, oh no, it's just against China. It's not. I've seen comments that he made to other people of other Asian nationalities, and I just don't like him. I don't like his personality. I don't like his designs. I think that if he could come up with he's a very talented machinist. Like I've said before, the Striders that he did were the best Striders to ever come out. They were. The fact is, though, if he had a design that was worth a shit, he would be making that and only making that because he would not have the machining capability to making things for other people. His designs don't resonate with everyone. I've never liked any of his designs. There is one that came in that I didn't dislike, but just because it was Greg, I'm not going to buy it. This is great. NTAC. So maybe you guys that haven't seen one, I have a ton of, you're on a footstool, by the way, that's why everything's shaking. This is the knife that Skylar Sage is referring to. This is the Farrenforge Knife Works NTAC. It is an incredible little knife, 20 CV, titanium. This was my personal one. I have the one that I bought my father before he passed away. It came back as my daughter's that's in a case out in the garage. This thing is a great, great size package for a smaller knife. Unfortunately, they don't make these knives anymore. They only made 200 of them, and they stopped making them about 8 years ago. So if you can find one, they're a great knife. This is my personal one. It won't ever go anywhere. This is the first Farrenforge knife I ever bought. Yeah, Skylar Sage and I have talked for a long time. I've got his personal number somewhere on my other phone. I got a new number. I have 2 phones now. I just need to send you my new number. So, do I like the 80 20.5? Okay, I liked the titanium one that they did with the sheep's foot blade. The one with the sheep's foot blade, it was great. But I don't really like the plastic handled one that they did. It had some issues. My buddy has both of them. So, and guys, there's 50 of you here. Please just double tap the screen if you're on your phone or the little 3 dots and bring it up and like the video. That way YouTube kicks it up the algorithm. We'll get more people here. But back to budget knives. Back to budget knives. Like I said, anything that Miguron Knives makes, that's M-I-G-E-U-R-O-N, I believe, Miguron, but this is the Valona. Anything that they make has just been pretty much spot on. I love this one. This one is in a unique steel. It's called DC53 is the steel on this one. The new ones they're making are in 14C28N. 3V Tonto. So the one that the one that my buddy has that is the titanium one is the 3V sheep's foot. And it's a great knife. It didn't have the issues the other one did. Another smaller knife that is an incredible one is this Meerkat. This is the Meerkat by Max Ace. Really, really unique looking knife. Oh, so comfortable in hand. This is probably one of the most comfortable knives in hand of this size factor. It just melts in your hand. It is probably one of the best. So So, oh, Skylar, I'm sorry to hear about your son. That sucks. I'm sorry. And so if you guys didn't catch, I'll text you about that. I don't want to talk about that on a live feed. I'll text you. At any rate, if you didn't catch the live feed I did the other day, I currently am laid off. So if you guys want to check out my memberships down below, I just sent a video over for the members. That literally took me, I said a few days when I was filming the last part. It's literally taken me 2 weeks just to film it, just to get all the segments filmed. And it took me from 5:30 this morning till now to get it edited, get all the audio taken care of, and all that stuff put up. So if you guys want to get into my memberships, I'd really appreciate it. There's a link down below. Because right now, until I'm laid off, until I can find something or the company brings me back, this is what I got right now. How do I feel about the Sage 5? Sage, that's a Spyderco, right? I think that's one of the Spyderco designs I really didn't like. I have to admit, I'm not a big fan of a lot of the Spyderco designs. I like the Endura series, which includes the Police, the Endura, the Delica, the Indela, and the Matriarch 2. I like all of those. I like the Military series and I like the Military 2 and the PM2. I really am a fan of those two. The Military line and the Military line and the Endura series, which is, like I said, that's a big one. It encompasses a lot. Because there's so many variations. Like I said, the Police is just a large, I think that the Police came out before the Endura, and I think the Endura was just kind of a shrunken down. Let's see here. I'm trying to see here. How do you feel about the Sage 5? I bought a ProTech TR3. I'm having a hard time liking it. I'm hit or miss with the I'm sorry guys, I'm trying to get through the comments here. I'm hit or miss with the ProTech stuff. I like all the folks at ProTech. They make good knives. They're built well. Their autos, I think, have got too much spring. I think they're just too snappy. And then Hedgehog, my favorite is the Cold Steel Counterpoint XL serrated. Never leave home without it. That's pretty cool. I have a counter tack boot knife that I think is probably the best boot knife that has ever been made. How do I feel about the Tonto PM2? I've never seen one, but I'm not a big fan of Tontos. I have a couple, but in general, not a big fan of Tonto knives. Let's see here. Any brands that are too much money for what they are besides Benchmade? There's a couple of them. I used to say that about Spyderco, and sometimes still, like, some of their knives are a little bit more than I would expect. I'm trying to think, like, these days, not really. Most companies are really trying to maximize bang for the buck. There's a couple, I think Schrade just did a USA made knife that was pretty expensive. I heard Jared talking about it in a video. I think they're like 250 bucks. But for what you're getting, I don't think it justifies that price. Pretty fly for a knife guy. I mean, I know a lot of people like the Tontos. Pretty Fly for a Knife Guy says, I find the secondary point on a Tonto very useful. So what he's talking about is the secondary point. I just had to do that. It's a fucking hidden switchblade. Why not? The secondary point that he's talking about on an Americanized Tonto is here. On a true Tonto, you won't have that. What you have is, well, I have a knife that, you guys ever seen one of these? So it's a dual action. So it works just like a regular knife, but it's got a little hidden mechanism. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's knife magic. So this knife is more akin to a true Tonto. So the blade comes down and then that grind comes in, and what you don't have is a distal taper. This is more akin to an actual Tonto. The Americanized Tonto just has two distinct edge angles that come up and they just marry them at one point. It does have its place for certain things. It's just not something I like. Does it matter which kind of Tonto? Are you mainly not a fan of American? Yeah, there you go. Not a fan of the American, Americanized Tonto. I want to get my first Spyderco Military 2, or the, so I want to get my first Spyderco, comma, sorry, punctuation's important. Let's eat, comma, grandma versus let's eat grandma. Punctuation saves lives. So I would honestly say, to tell you the truth, as much as I love this one, the PM2 is just about a perfect, did I put it in my pocket? I didn't. My PM2 is out on my workbench. I think the PM2 is the perfect EDC. So this is a little large for some people. I'm a big guy. I wear triple XL gloves. This is a 9.5-inch knife. This is a 9.5-inch knife. It's a big knife. It's not going to be perfect for everyone. When you've got a bigger knife, sometimes it can feel unwieldy. To tell you the truth, this one can. So if you're doing some cutting, when you get out past about this point, you feel like you've got a little less control of the knife. You don't have that problem. There you go, pretty fly for a knife guy. You don't have that problem with the PM2. You're closer to the tip at the pivot. So that gives you a good bit of control in that knife. So I would say the PM2 would be the better bet. Now, if you're just simply trying to make a decision between these two, I love this knife. This is currently, this and this are my two favorite knives this year. And as you can see, both exactly the same length, both have a very, very similar overall profile. This has a recurve blade. You can see I have a style of knife that is basically what I love. This is my knife of the year. But it too can feel a little unwieldy when you get out here. But the fact is, it's got this big recurve, so you've got this little bit of belly that you can do stuff with at the front. Absolutely love it. So I would say the PM2 would be the better best there. The better bet there. Benchmade 940. Are you asking how I feel about it? Because that's absolutely a way overpriced knife for what you get. I really think that it is a worthless knife, and I have a much better option if you like the 940, but you want something that's more functional. If you can find it, is this. This is the Eric Oaks Solar Storm. Really, really similar in size, the way it feels in hand, to a 940. It's done better, and it is absolutely a better cutter. Deep hollow on this, comes down nicely done with a modified Wharncliffe. So, don't buy a Benchmade 940. If you can find one of these. And then you've got this, which is not just for looks. So you have this micarta inlay. This is not just for looks. That's jimping. So in a pinch grip, you've got a really, really good grip on that. I cannot read Japanese. I'm sorry. I wish I could translate that. I can speak Japanese, can't read it. Can't read it, I'm dyslexic. This little peewee, this is the Eric Oaks, Oaks Works EDX Solar Storm. Titanium M390 micarta, and it's got a beautiful pocket clip. Somebody asked me if I ever replace pocket clips. Very rarely do I ever replace pocket clips. I have one knife, I believe, here now that I replaced the pocket clip with. I replaced the pocket clip with a pocket clip from the same brand, and it's the titanium pocket clip from CJRB and Artisan, and it's on a CJRB Rhea. Mine has a little clip. Actually, I didn't replace it. It came with that clip. Do you change the scales? Okay, do I take them off and replace them? No. What I do, though, is I have modified scales before. Case in point, I did not do the rock pattern on this, but I re-anodized all of this the way I want. I'm very, very much in love with a knife if I do something like this. You can see I did green, this toxic green ano on all the hardware, toxic green ano on that backspacer after I polished it and polished it and polished it. And then I stonewashed the blade because I didn't like the finish on the blade. So yes, I do change things. I changed the ano on this. This originally was purple. I didn't like the color. I re-anodized it. I was a knife maker. I modified knives a lot. I changed things on knives a lot for people. Let me see, do I have another one in here that I did that too? Yes. This, Knife of the Year 2022. I didn't like the finish on the scales. Loved the knife, didn't like the finish on the scales. I gave them a different style of stonewash, very, very fine stonewash. Let's see here. Surprised you haven't done a lynch clip on the Spyderco. I honestly love the Spyderco pocket clips. There are very few knives that they have that their pocket clips don't work well on. Their pocket clips are usually really good in hand and comfortable. They're very, very, they're incredibly comfortable. They sit in the pocket nice and deep. They're not uncomfortable. Cold Steel has used the same design pocket clip pretty much on some of their knives. They got permission from Spyderco to do it. This, for some reason, even though that's really tall, it just carries in hand really well. How do I do my stonewash, says, let's see here. Nate Hoover asks, how do I do my stonewash? I have a rock tumbler. And in the rock tumbler, I either have super fine ceramic, they look like cake sprinkles. And I either do that, or I use the triangle ceramic ones. And it definitely gives you a nice, nice finish. As a matter of fact, I just refinished the blade on this not too long ago here at the house and did a heavy stone wash on it. Spyderco pocket clips are amazing. Only downside is that they are deep carry. Aren't. Oh, okay, yeah, there you go. Aren't as deep carry. I'm going to show you my favorite pocket clip in the knife industry. That one right there. This is my favorite pocket clip on any knife, hands down. This one. This is the one that Elliot Williamson uses on his knives. He makes these. He gets them laser cut out of a thin piece of titanium, and then he bends them himself with a pair of pliers. This is the most comfortable. Sir, 日本語言っていいでも reading not so much 日本語で喋るでも漢字をからん Google Translate にしてお願い漢字はダメ So at any rate, this is on a knife with a very, very unique finish. Very, very unique finish on this. There were only 20 of these knives that were done with that finish. This one was sent to me as a gift. And if you guys are watching, please drop a like. Drop a like. It'll get more people. It pushes the more likes you have, the further YouTube will recommend this live stream to people. So yeah, probably the best pocket clip on any knife ever. It sits so well in the pocket. So well in the pocket that it's just incredible. And then the closest I've had to having a pocket clip disappear in hand and just not even know it's there is this pocket clip. I have one that's a modified version of that. Every bit as comfortable. Elliot did this on this as a gift for me. So let's see here. They aren't. Reminds me of the 940 clip. Vladimir, thank you. My Japanese is very nice. I lived in Japan for 13 years. My wife's Japanese. I don't speak as much Japanese as I used to, and I've kind of gotten rusty, but I try. What is this? Looks a lot like your Hoback Alpha Hunter. Get the fuck out of here with that Hoback shit. There's another knife maker I can't stand. You guys can ask me why if you want to know, but I can't stand him. He's a disingenuous, slimy piece of shit. That's why. Let me see. Are there other knives that I've done? I mean, I guarantee it. Yeah, I redid this one. I ceramic coated this. We were talking about scales again. I ceramic coated this one and then did bronze anodizing on stuff. Nightwalker. I've been good till I got laid off from my job, and I'm here doing this again. I can't get upset. I can't get upset. I violated a policy for the site. I have no idea who this is. Let's see. I don't know. I was trying to see if I could see that channel. Not a fan of Jake either. The Alpha Hunter was a gift. Yeah, so Jake's this piece of shit. That's all there is. Oh, Chunk, come here. Nope. Get in here. You're not going out to the garage. Come here. Come here. Get in the house. The garage door's open and he hears the neighbor. Let's go see what he's doing. Let's just go see what he's doing. Oh, and I can grab my PM2. I can grab my PM2 for that guy that was like that. Well, I mean, that's a good reason. Bladed Ginger, that's a good reason to like it. So Jake Hoback led the charge on trying to do some. He basically tried to cancel my friend Jason Browse's entire business. Chunk, come on, house. Come on. He tried to cancel my friend Jason Browse's entire business. What Jason was doing at the time, Jason was having parts manufactured overseas, offshore, cheap manufacturing, and he would take those parts and assemble the knives, do all the finish, all the fit up, install the hardware, and all the things you need to do for a knife here stateside, which it's a lot. And technically you can do that and still call it American-made product because it's more than 51% of the overall value of the knife. So Jason Browse was breaking no rules. And then Jake took it upon himself to lead the charge and try to cancel him and cancel his business, and it almost worked. Well, then fast forward a few years, we find out that Jake Hoback was having everything, he was having some stuff done completely in China and still claiming they were American made. Well, he didn't claim it. The vendors were claiming it, and he didn't tell them otherwise, which is still a lie. A lie of omission is every bit as bad as a lie that you tell outright. So that was a bit of an ugly thing, and basically everybody wrote that off and let it slide after Jake did that. And I just think it's shitty. So I have several tomahawks, as a matter of fact. I have one that I'm going to do a video of me refurbishing. That's the word I was looking for. But back to the thing. So somebody was asking the military. I would recommend the PM2 over the military 2 for that gentleman that asked earlier. I think I got mosquito bit here just a second ago. That would be my recommendation. The PM2 is a better overall knife for most people. This is the PM2 in comparison size-wise to the military 2. You're not giving up a lot, but what you do get, this knife's a lot easier to control. It's a lot easier to use the full blade length. You've got really good grip and hold on it. It fits the hand and pocket a little bit better than most people, for most people. I even think it's a better overall knife with it. Oh yeah, you have tomahawks, Mike. I did shave with one. There's a video. I wasn't drunk. I was not inebriated. I was stone sober when I filmed that video. I filmed a video of me shaving with a tomahawk. I had a full beard at the time. I shaved everything except the Van Dyke. Well, it's not a goatee. A Van Dyke is when you have a goatee with a mustache. So yeah, but yeah, at any rate, like I was saying, the PM2 would be my pick for the best overall EDC knife on the market. As much as I like this one better, I have to acknowledge that this one is a little bit more useful. But the fact is, if I'm going to carry a big knife like this, it's like meat and wine pairings. If I'm going to carry a big knife, I'm also going to carry something small as well for smaller tasks. Or with a lazy eye. I don't have a lazy eye. Maybe I do. Have I ever reviewed any bone tactical knives? No. No, I have not. I don't know if I've even heard of that brand, to tell you the truth. Let's see here. A lazy eye. That's what I gotta say. Trevessa, I've got several Trevessa knives that I've done bladed ginger. I've done several videos. I know, it's funny. I didn't get upset because I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was funny. Hence the Trevessa knives I've done have all been great. As a matter of fact, there's one out in my knife roll that was a gift from Jared. It is a great, great knife. That one is the, geez, I can't think of it. I've done several of the Trevessa knives. They're really, really good too. They're really, really good. They're really, really good knives to carry. Well, hello from France. This, I was getting ready to show, came from France. This actually was shipped to me from France. This is Tashi Barucha's, one of his personals that he sent me so I could do a review of his OAO. And I was like, I'll get it to as many people. I was giving it to as many people as possible. I told him I wanted to give it to as many people as possible. I said, let me borrow one, I'll get it sent around, and then I'll get it back to you. And he goes, no, he's like, don't worry about it, I'm sending you one. And I thought he was gonna have the vendors send me one, or the company that made it send me one. No, he shipped me this from France, like put it in a box himself. Yes, this is that integral. So this is the WE Knives OAO. Carbon fiber on top. Too thick behind the blade? No, it is not. This is one of the better cutting knives. It comes down full flat grind very, very nicely. This is a great knife. Too thick behind the edge? It's really not, though. This is one of those ones that they did a very good job, and it's not that thick behind the edge, really. It's not that thick to begin with. This is one of those knives that WE Knife Company did a great, great job on. So, guys, I'm gonna do it again. Double tap the screen to drop a like, or hit the 3 dots down below and get a like. That way we can kick it up. But yeah, this is that integral. This is the lightest integral I've ever seen. This is lighter than a lot of my other knives that are completely open in the back, and it's because all of that carbon fiber that they did on top of the frame, it takes up so much material, and they did weight reduction inside underneath these. So really, really good knife. I have a couple integrals. This is another one that's really good. This is the Beyond EDC Tiramundi Ray, designed by Mallory, Dylan Mallory, one of my friends, Dylan Mallory. This thing is really, really good. And I absolutely love it. The integral. Big Bill Montgomery. Is that a knife? Yeah, it's a knife. This thing's great. This one is actually too thick though. Blade stock on it's too thick. It still came down nice to the edge, but it transitions very rapidly. So when you're cutting through thicker material, it does have a tendency to bind up. I think that the blade stock could have been a little bit thinner, but they transitioned it down really well to a nice behind the edge thickness. But as you can see, like I said, it transitions back up to the thick material really, really fast. I think that it's good for a lot of things, as long as you don't need to cut into soft material or things like that. where it's going to bind. It would not be a very good cheese knife. Absolutely love the Ray. It's one of my favorite Beyond. Yeah, I was getting ready to say Beyond EDC Terramundi. This is the best one they made. I've had this for a while. This is the warning button designed by Dirk Pinkerton. It's a great, great knife. Probably one of the best Wharncliffes I've ever had. I love this knife. I need to carry this more. It sits in my case, and I look at it every once in a while. Oh, I need to get that out. Really, really great. Really, really good knife. And then that unique lock mechanism that's in the pivot. You know what I mean? Just a great, great knife. And the fact is, it's got a reversible pocket clip because that button is it's ambidextrous. I like ambidextrous knife locks. I do. I just have a problem with the axis lock and stuff. Sometimes it really irritates me. I wish that they could find a way to get the detent better. So there's stuff going on with Beyond EDC. I'm not going to put their business out there, Anthony. I think there's some stock left on their website, but basically the owner of the company kind of got screwed by the people that were supposed to be his partners. And so they decided that they didn't want to be partners. They just wanted to be, they decided that they wanted to be his manufacturers only, his OEM, after they'd already signed it. And they kind of reneged on their legal deal, and they kind of got screwed. And so the owner kind of got screwed, and so I think they're in limbo for right now. Just because I don't know everything, and it's not my place to speak on it. I'm gonna wait and see how things land up. I may try to get David, the owner of the company, to give me a lowdown so we can talk about it in a video. But I think you can still use my coupon code over there for 40% off. So, have you ever heard of Badger blades? No, I haven't. Have not heard of Badger blades. I put that knife in the wrong spot. That's why things look weird. That's why everything looks weird. I know why. I had this out. This was like in my pocket earlier. I have never heard of Badger blades. I may have. I don't know. This knife's a lot of fun. Just an incredible knife. Ramon Chavez's designs are 9 times out of 10 some of the most fun you're going to come across. There's another one. You guys, we were talking about when I modify knives. I did orange peel and ano on the pocket clip and the backspacer for this. Now, I did it a long time ago, and then my buddy never carried this knife. And he gave it to me as a birthday present because he knew I wanted one. So, just an incredible knife. Nice deep hollow on this. Just a great, I just love everything about this. And you want to talk about functional jimping. It doesn't get any more functional than that. You will rip your thumb, the material of your thumb loose from your thumbnail before you slide off of that jimping. It will take skin with it before you slip. It'll take a chunk of you before you slip off that jimping. And I love functional jimping. I don't like jimping. Like, I could have done without it. On this knife, I don't know, though. It looks kind of cool. I could have done without jimping. I can do without jimping on most knives. But if it's functional, I don't complain too much. It's when you do a bunch of jimping and then it's all soft and slippery, and you're like, well, that's absolutely worthless. Jimping should serve a purpose. They make swords, Ben Kern says. Chris Warris says, gotta run, peace out. Have a great day, everyone. And then Bladed Ginger says, I need a Chavez too bad. Yeah, the thing is, their prices are, oh, man, prices on Chavez knives used to be just insane. And then he started getting manufacturing done offshore. I mean, you can't really complain too much about it because every other knife company is looking at doing it. Even Microtech did it with one of their knives. And so it allows you to purchase a knife that you probably weren't going to be able to get before. That dog has got his bone and just going nuts on it. What anybody else got? This is a Ask Me Almost Anything. I got a sword that David's son gave me that actually was used in a video. That's cool. I got a bunch of swords. I took Japanese swordsmanship for 10 of the 13 years that I was in Japan. How do you feel about knife subscriptions? Jorge, I don't 100% know what you're talking about. I don't know what knife subscription you're talking about. Knife subscription? I don't know. Oh, it was used by Lim Thompson. Jorge, could you do me a favor and maybe, or George? George? Is that George? I don't know how you, I can't tell. I'm not that smart. I don't know what you mean by knife subscriptions. Are you talking like the boxes? Like the battle box thing where they send you, oh, we'll send you a knife every month. Subscription boxes. That's what I'm saying. I've never, like battle box and stuff like that. I think there's gonna be, like every time I see something that like big YouTubers are shilling, like the Kamikoto knives and the Husk knife and a bunch of other ones, I always see those ads and I'm like, when am I gonna see the scam video about these? So I see all these ones where like Tyler Tube, they're like, oh, the battle box or Gearbox or these other ones, and I'm like, I got a sneaking suspicion that I'm gonna see a video about how that's a scam. CarShield just had to pay like $10 million due to false advertising, and that's the one that Ice Cube or Ice T, I can't remember what it was. Ice T was doing. Do I have a favorite chef's knife? Right now, it's the Ferrum Forge Knife Works kitchen knives that they did. It was a very well thought out knife. It's really attractive. I use it now for everything. I've got a ton of kitchen knives, and the one I use every time is that the Ferrum Forge Knife Works Santoku that they did, and the little Utilitoku like paring knife. I think that they are just about perfect. They are super, super thin, really corrosion resistant, comfortable in hand. I've got a lot of knives, and you know, you're like, oh, well, I can't do this with that knife, and this knife's too big, and this knife. Their knives are just about perfect. So they're really, really good. So I bought a IV 8888 man can a few years ago. Never again. I don't know what that was. There's only 37 likes on this. If you guys would like to make this get more interesting and get more people in here, double tap the screen, like the video. Thoughts on Artisan Proponent? I have 3 of them. My thoughts on the Artisan Proponent? It's big. That's my thoughts. It's a big, big knife. It's a big, big knife. And I don't use mine because it's too heavy to carry in most scenarios, because they didn't do any weight reduction on this. None. It's as heavy as it looks. Like you look at it and you're like, that looks like it would be heavy. You know why it looks like that? Because it's fucking heavy. That's why it looks like that. It is a lot of fun though. I love how the blade looks. Part of the reason I don't use this knife is because of how it looks. It is a very, very well done, very attractive knife. The fuller is completely mirror polished, and then the blade itself, the satin on it almost is. And it is, no joke, ridiculously sharp for a knife this big. And it's dangerous because with that big heavy blade, it just slams shut. Like if you had your pinky in there, you just, so you can follow, I forget how much these are. I should have a link in the description below to Artisan Cutlery. And you can use that link and then just type in proponent. If you go to that link, and the reason I say please use that link is because, guys, I am 100% self-sponsored now. I have no sponsors anymore. I have a couple companies that have discounts and things built into, and we may do more stuff. But basically, I have no sponsors anymore. So yeah, that's what I thought. They're like $220-ish on these, titanium and S35 VN steel. And it's done really, really well. But there's a link down below for Artisan Cutlery that you can use. And it supports the channel because it's an affiliate link, and it doesn't cost you anything at checkout. Same with my Amazon store. But the proponent is just, it's something that I have and I keep around because I like it, because it is crazy and over the top. But I have another one of their knives that, Jesus, one doesn't want to fit. I have another one of the Artisan knives that I think is, it's just pretty much, it's almost the same size, much, much more, much, much easier to carry. This is the Mastiff. This is the Artisan Mastiff. And I love this knife. Really, really do. This one's in carbon fiber, S35 VN. This thing is really, really good. So good. But this is a knife that suffers from what I was talking about. The jimping on it is just, it's so soft. But this is such a good knife, and it's a good looking knife too. That is a very smooth action. That is a really, really good knife. Only thing is, I don't think these are available right now. So, guys, double tap the screen to drop a like. There's 52 of you. We're going to go for a while. What else we got? What do we got? I said ask me almost anything. People really aren't asking me questions. Have I ever found a knife on the street? Yes, I have. I have found a knife laying on the street. It was a little imperial slip joint. It's a little tiny one. Like a little 3-blade penknife that I found laying on the street in Newcomerstown, Ohio. No, that's the one my grandfather bought me. There was another one. It was another imperial knife that I found laying on the street in a place called Newcomerstown, Ohio. I do like you, therefore I shall give you a like. Why, thank you, good sir. Best yard sale find? We've got this. It wasn't even a yard sale. I have to explain. So when I lived in Japan, and I was getting ready to propose to my wife, and I was saving up a bunch of money because I needed some money for the wedding and a bunch of stuff. I was working part-time for a garbage truck company, and I had a route. I spoke enough Japanese that I could run the route, and I could interact with the other drivers, and I could interact with the people that I was picking up from. So I worked for a trash company, and I run my route. Well, they would pick things up, and they kind of would repurpose things because they had a store. And so this, not really a swap meet, or this, my wife and I have had this since way before we got married. I brought that home, and the front slides back and forth so that you can access further stuff because there's front shelves and back shelves. That would be the closest, I'd say. I don't go to swap meets very often because I don't ever find anything good. I've never really found any good yard sale finds. I do go, and I go to swap meets, but never have I really found anything. Do you own any LUDTs? I don't like the Microtech LUDT. I like Microtech knives, and I like Tony. I'm friends with Tony, but I don't like that particular one, and I don't know why. I don't know why, but I just don't like it. Now, like I said, I'm a big fan of Microtech knives. I've had so many Microtechs. I've had 3 different, well, I'm sorry, 5 different UTX. I've had the Whale Shark, the DOC, the, oh, what's that new one with the shark lock? I've had the shark, or not the shark, but I've had, Chunk, no, get in here. Get in here. No, you're not going out there. I don't care how much you like the neighbor, you're not going out there. I just don't like that one. Do you ever just give random people knives? Curious because my dumbass does. I do to the paying members, and I owe them like 3 giveaways. I have a bunch of knives, but the way things were, I just kind of didn't do it. So I owe them a bunch of giveaway knives. What you doing, buddy? You gonna lay down? He feels neglected. I'll rub your head for you, bud. I do giveaways to them. Do you like Kershaw? I don't. I don't like Kershaw, and I don't like ZT. Their knives, the Kershaw stuff, I don't like because I just don't like Kershaw. I have never ever liked any of their designs really, except the leak and the chive. And I just don't like ZT knives, which is the parent company. I just don't like them. I find their knives to be overpriced and underwhelming. I found a 1998 Spyderco Clip It Delica at a yard sale for $3. Still had the clip on it. Wow, the clip didn't break off? I give knives all the way. I'm a dumbass too. I found an old Gerber dagger in my, this is Ben Kern. I found an old Gerber dagger knife in my yard while mowing. Wow. Steve Garreau says, LOL. Mad Yoko. I have a giveaway for when I hit 250 subs. Go follow him. Go follow him so he does a giveaway. I mean, like random people you don't know. Yes, I gave a knife away to a girl at the pool hall one night when I was still making knives up at Fair and Forge Knife Works. I was over at the pool hall eating, and I had a Max. No, not a Max Ace. I had a. Hey, stop! Stop licking the couch. He's a dumbass. There was a girl there that was complaining because somebody broke into her car and stole her knife. She had a knife, and we were on the subject of knives, and I was telling her I was working on making a knife. I went over to the pool hall to eat because it was just across the parking lot from the Fair and Forge Knife Works. So I crossed over there, got something to eat, had a couple beers, and I went back to play. And she was saying, she's like, oh yeah, I'm bummed. I was talking about making a knife. She's like, yeah, I'm bummed. I had a knife that I kept in the car, and somebody broke in my car and stole everything, including my knife. She's like, I just kept it there in case I needed to cut something or if my seatbelt got jammed. She's like, I had it like down in the console so I could get to it. And I was like, well, hang on a second. I ran back across and I grabbed my stuff because I had it was the Giant Mouse Iona, and I didn't like it all that much. And I took it over and I gave it to her. I was like, here you go. That way you've got a knife in your car. Like, I hate seeing someone without a knife. That's just a really good thing to have on your person. So, yes, I have given a knife to just a random person that I really didn't know. So, 41 people here. If you haven't dropped a like, I'd really appreciate it. That's all I'm asking. I could get into it and say, hey, I really would like it if you guys drop super chats. That'd be cool, you know, but I don't make any money on these live feeds. But if you don't want to, just drop a like. That shit's free. I just got a message here. Have I ever made a throwing knife? Ben Kern asks. Ben Kern asks, Have I ever made a throwing knife? Have I ever thrown a knife that I made? Yes. If you were to go over to where Fair and Forge Knife Works used to be, there's a bunch of knives that were in various stages of completion that something went horribly awry with, and I would lose my temper, knowing I could not fix it and not wanting to, you know, there's nothing I can really do with it. I would throw them on the roof of the building so I didn't ever have to look at it again. So technically, have I made a throwing knife? Yes and no. I just personally, I don't, it doesn't make sense to throw a knife, especially if that's like your primary self-defense tool. Oh, somebody had asked about, if they're still here, they had asked about recommended budget knives. QSP, I forgot about QSP. This is a QSP Kestrel. This is probably the best small knife they make. This is probably I think this is probably the best knife that they make that I have. So really, really good knife. The Kestrel. They name a lot of their knives after birds. So waiting on more questions. I don't want to kill dead time. You guys got to ask me questions. Hey, lay down. Let's see here. 53 people, 43 likes. Please drop a like on the video. I think he's getting ready to try and go upstairs, lay down on my daughter's bed. He really misses my wife and daughter. If he gets a chance to get into the kids' room and lay down on her bed and just get her smell all over him, he absolutely will. They get back from Japan in 14 days. So, what's going on, guys? Make with the questions. We're doing the dance monkey dance thing. What else have I got that we could touch on? Do I make sheaths? No. So when I made knives, I never made my own sheaths. I would have the sheaths done. He found a squeaky toy. The sheaths I had done were done by Armitage Carry. I just never got the hang of if I buy a membership, would you take a look at my channel? I'll take a look at your channel for free, but I do it quicker if you buy a membership. Nah, I'm just being serious. Yes, I will absolutely. Any hints on new videos coming out? Well, we have the new camera. And since the new camera is a different type of camera and it's a lot more robust, we went a lot of different places. And we went a bunch of different places, and I filmed a bunch of different stuff. And if you're a paying member, that video just went up today for you guys. So there's a lot of B-roll. There's some underwater stuff. So that was a lot of that was a lot of it. Is my daughter still skating? Nightwalker 2830 said yes, but she has. We suspect that she has exertion. It's chronic compartment syndrome, or exertional compartment syndrome is what it's called, and she may have to have surgery. But she's been skating in Japan. They did some stuff that hopefully that took care of it. ZHB 1989 said I had one of your small neck knives, is what he means, and lost it at Myrtle Beach. I've been beating myself up, LO. Here's the nice thing. When I designed that knife, it was intended to not be expensive. It's about a $30 to $50 knife, depending on what version of it you get. There was a very expensive version of it, and I told the guys, I was like, well, that's just silly. It was intended to be under $50. They're available at Artisan. My affiliate link is down below. You can go pick one up. They're not that expensive. I currently don't have any of them here. I have 2 of them on loan. Well, I'm sorry. I have 1 of them left, and it's on loan. And I gave the other one that I had here at the house to Scab over at Choir Boys Cutlery. So what's the next question? Bladed Ginger says, I still need to get one of your knives. I love supporting friends. Well, I appreciate that. Let's see, what else do I have here that's really unique? If you could take one knife to the mountains, what would you take? Well, Ben, you're gonna have to wait, because I climbed up the side of a mountain the other day. I honestly did. I went up, I actually climbed twice. For the video that I'm talking about that is going up soon, that the members have right now, that they have early access to, I climbed up Mount San Miguel. I went to the very peak up at the top, and I got up there and it was way too foggy. I went early in the morning, and so I was way up. I was at like 1,900 feet, and so I couldn't even see. And my camera lens kept getting like just covered with moisture, because I was up there, and it was so foggy that my clothes were getting wet. It was like it was more like it was misting. John, no, hey, no, you're not going out there. Every time he hears the neighbor. Look at that, Mad Yoko. Welcome to the Baseline memberships. You can check that video out, and when you do that video, drop a comment on that video. Now that you're a member, or you could go into my channel, and you'll see the members only section in the community tab. You'll see like members posts. It's a video, and it's like, why do I have so many knives, or something like that. I can't remember what the title I put on it. Drop a comment in there. I will go follow you. I will go check out your channel. I'll follow it, and I'll probably do an actual comment. I would have done that anyway. You didn't have to become a member, but I appreciate it. But I took a bunch of knives up on the side of the mountain, and we talked about scenarios where something you would want more than a folding knife. So Steve Garreau asked, do you know anywhere that makes aftermarket scales for the Rat 1? And I would ask why you would try to polish a turd. I can't think of a reason to spend more money on that knife. I really can't. I don't like it. Nick Shabazz and I have went back and forth, because Nick's a friend of mine, and back and forth on the fact that I don't like the Rat 1. I don't like it. If you like it, that's fine, but I can't think of any fucking reason why you would want to spend more money on that. You already wasted some money when you bought it. This is a great knife. This is a great knife. I know you guys didn't ask, but I saw it sitting there, and I haven't had it out for a while. This is the Slayback by Monterey Bay Knives. If you can find one of these, this is a Ray Laconico design. Man, if you can find one of these, pick one up. This is the ZDP 189 core. I'm just kidding, Steve. I just don't like that knife. I don't know of anybody that does, because to tell you the truth, really, there's no money in it. Most people buy that knife, and I'll tell you why that knife is popular. You can buy it. It's a decent knife for use for a year or two, couple years. And then you just let it. That's one of those knives that, like, it's a throwaway knife. They're not that expensive. They're still fairly cheap. They're an okay knife at the price, but there's a lot of knives out there that are way better at the price. So that's what I said. Bladed Ginger says, should knife throwing be in the Olympics? Like I'm ever going to watch the Olympics after what they did this year. Holy crap, you want to talk about a satanic fucking... I don't know. I don't want to get into it. I don't want to piss people off. Do I like K-bar fighting knives? I like them for what they are. I like the historical purpose that they served. The reason I designed this is Bigfoot Yeti. I can appreciate the historical significance of the K-bar fighting knife, but personally, I don't find them to be. I don't find them to be a great all-around knife. I designed a combat utility knife strictly because I didn't like any of the combat knives we were ever offered, including the K-bar. At one point, it was the pinnacle of knife, tactical knife, well, military knife technology. It was the pinnacle of it. but there's so many other knives that have surpassed it. And so I designed a knife that I would have wanted. And then I got We Knife Company did it. I think you can still pick those up. The We Knives Stonefish is the name of it. You can pick them up a lot of places. Steve Garreau, I was going to say, at least you're honest. Yeah, I mean, and don't get me wrong, like, I still have my Rat one, but I don't carry it. I just don't like it enough to even put it in my pocket. I have so many other knives that are as functional, but so much way better quality build, the feel in hand, and the fact is, knife guys all know this. It's not about the function of the knife. I'm gonna show you a knife. It is a knife that this is a $1,200 version of a $600 knife. And it's this one. The $600 version of this knife was incredible. It's the same knife. All it did was they carved it. But the fact is that this knife was done in a fashion that the maker knew I was going to love. And it was done as a gift. And it was commissioned by friends of mine that knew exactly what I would have wanted. And they did something incredible with this knife. Does this knife perform any better because of the way it looks? No. Does it stand out significantly to me because of the way it looks? Absolutely. There's a lot of knives like that. Like this knife. Does that carbon fiber fill any purpose other than the fact it looks cool? No. Yeah, I've talked with Tim. Tim and I have talked. You missed my other live feed. Tim and I have talked. We've talked about one of my designs and things like that, maybe being done with him. If I can't get anything back from him, I'm going a different route. Yeah, I do know that Tim makes this. Ben Kern asks how I sharpen my knives. I do all of my knife sharpening freehand on stones. I have diamond stones, aluminum oxide stones, ceramic stones. I do it all on sharpening stones. I do all of it. And I'm fighting with a big issue with my shoulder, and I have a bunch of nerve damage from my neck and shoulder all the way down my arm, so I'm having a hard time with sharpening. I can't sharpen for more than about like 10, 15 minutes at a time. So, do I have any experience dyeing micarta? George says. Micarta, no. But these were teal. These were a very unmasculine shade of teal, in my opinion, and I didn't like it, and I went sapphire blue. So the process is the same. Process is the same on this as it would be for micarta. So this was G10. I'm sensing a favorite blade shape, LOL. My favorite blade shape is Wharncliffe. It's absolutely my favorite blade shape. I love Wharncliffes and a good sheep's foot. That's why my fixed blade, the small little neck knife, that's why it's a Wharncliffe. I think that the Wharncliffe blade is probably the most versatile blade shape outside of doing skinning and hunting tasks. The Wharncliffe's probably the best all-around blade. There's a couple reasons for it. First of all, that point there, allowing you to do really detailed small things at the very tip of the knife. Case in point, splinters and slivers of steel when you're a knife maker in your fingers. This is much easier to pick it out with this than it is with, man, that just got me. Just barely touched me and it cut me. Much easier to do than with something like this. The other reason, it's not even bleeding yet, but I've definitely felt the tip of that just pop me a little bit. The other reason, when you're cutting with this, if you're pulling up on it and cutting, it stays all the way to the very tip. You don't have, it'll cut all the way to the tip with the same amount of pressure, same amount of force as it does at the heel. On this knife, it'll do it, and then when you get here, it's gonna slip off. You lose about 1.5 inches, almost 2 inches of that knife that could be used to do cutting when you don't give that up on this. King Pope Caesar, I'm getting into overbuilt Chinese folders lately. I just picked up the Tractor at the T6000. Bladed Ginger says, my favorite blade shape too. That's why my Geo is that as well. It bit me. It's bit me before. I cut myself pretty good with this little one. It just barely got me. I mean, it didn't even really completely break the skin, I don't think. But I definitely felt it. I've cut myself, I think I've cut myself the worst with this knife of any knife I've had in a long time. I've gotten myself several times because that point is so acute and it's so sharp. Very, very, very useful blade shape. And this one is one of the best you're going to find. I have, this is that Miguel Valona again. I have to talk about this again for a minute. We were talking about the best budget knives out there earlier. This absolutely is the king of the budget knife. It really is. This thing is, it is so deceptive on what you think it would what it would cost. I thought when Jared sent me this knife from over at Knives Knives, I was like, I got it, and you know, it's got a milled clip, it's got a beautiful blade on it, it's got such a good balance. This is one of the few knives that is over 9 inches. This is a 9.5-inch knife. It doesn't feel at all unwieldy. You don't lose the balance on this. I remember I was saying earlier, like you just feel like you're too far removed from, like the blade just feels like it's too long. This knife does not feel like that. Just really, really nimble, really easy to use, easy to carry, really good action. I thought this was going to be a $120, $150 knife. And when Jared told me the price, it was like 50 or 70. I was actually mad at him when I found out the actual price on this, because I still can't believe how good this knife is for the price they're charging. And it just stays so sharp. Your grip, Marco, Steve Garreau says, I'm glad I subscribed. I'll make sure I read that. Yeah, I'm glad you subscribed too. It's always fun to find new channels. That's why I'm gonna definitely go check out Mad Yoko's channel. So your Griptilian got you twice in the first week. Gross. I got a Micro Jimbo. It's a bit overpriced, but the DLC finished version is very good. Coworker, and it stays sharp much longer. So this is William Sapula. I'm gonna have to revisit the Yojimbo. I didn't like the Yojimbo at first. I didn't like it at all. I thought it was too thin at the tip and all that. And then once I got this one, I'm like, you know what? Very, very similar style on this. With that really, really thin, really piercing tip to the Yojimbo. And I'm like, you know what? I have to go back and I need to borrow one from somebody. And now that how much I fell in love with that, I need to give it another look. Because at that time I was really upset with Spyderco Knives. I was upset with the direction Eric was taking the company, and now he's kind of course corrected. I'm much happier with the things I'm seeing from them. I've gotten a bunch of them recently that have been really good. So I got to get one of those and a crossbar Mayoral. I have the crossbar Mayoral, and I'm going to tell you right now, if you get it, one of the things you're going to do. So this is Mad Yoko. If you get one of these, I'm going to tell you the first thing you're going to want to do, find a way to stonewash this blade. this PVD coating that's on it really gets you a lot of friction. It's a great, great knife. It really gets you a lot of friction on this. So my favorite knife in my collection, and can we see it? Okay, favorite knife in my collection. There is no one favorite. There's a few favorites. And I have to do this. This is going to take a minute because we have to go get something out of the garage from the studio. So I have to tell you why. There's reasons for every one of these knives holding their special place. And so I have to go get 2 knives out of the studio. There's a couple reasons why. That all these knives hold a specific place in my heart and in my collection. So we have to grab a couple of things, and I'll explain the reasoning behind all of this. So there is one knife that is the most important, and I'm grabbing that right now. So I will get to everyone's questions and stuff momentarily after this one, because this is a long answer to a very good question. So if I had to pick a knife that I would say was the knife that I lusted after the longest and was the hardest to get, which makes it very, very special, it's gonna be this. But we'll talk about that in a second. If I had to pick a knife that was the most important, and then by default it would be my favorite, is this knife. This knife right here is nothing of any note if you were to look at it. It's an old Camelus Silver Sword Model 42. It's done in 440C steel. Steel handles. It's an old lockback. It's got a bunch of blade play. The blade has been sharpened down to where it's nowhere near what it used to be. And my dad gave me this when I was 7 years old. I've had this knife for 43 years. Carried this knife across 16% of the countries in the world. I carried it in Iraq. I carried it in Afghanistan. I carried it in Bosnia. I carried it everywhere in the fucking world. And it was something that I carried to remind me of home. It was the first knife I ever got, and it's the first thing that ever gets packed and looked for if we leave and move. It is the most important, I think it is the most important piece of anything that I own. So this will never go anywhere. And as a matter of fact, I thought I lost it at one point and I was unconsolable. And as a matter of fact, if you were to ever own one of my knives, the logo that you see on my knives is absolutely transcribed off of this. It is that. My dad engraved my initials in this knife. So, absolutely most important. If I had to pick a knife that was the hardest knife for me to ever come across and get, it's my Grimsmo Norseman. I saved for 5 years to get this knife. I paid $1,000 for this. This knife, all of these next knives you're gonna see outside of that first one I showed you, all on that same level. But guys, please do drop a like. There's 64 of you. Absolutely amazing. I waited for a very long time. I saved up the money. I spent the money. I saved the money again. I spent the money. I saved the money and then bought it. Grimsmo Norseman. This knife was a gift from my friends Matt Martino and Nico Urbano, and they got with Elliot Williamson to make me a knife exactly the way I would want it. It's an incredible gift. It was incredibly thoughtful. It is an amazing knife, and I absolutely love it, and it would never go anywhere. There's no chance that this knife would ever leave. I'm talking about all this because they're all on equal footing. This was a knife that was a gift from my buddy Nico as, I forget what the gift, it was, I don't remember what it was, but he bought me this because he knew I had looked for one of these for a while, couldn't find one. He gave me this one as a gift. This is the Ferrum Forge. Jesus Christ. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Why can't I think of this off the top of my head? At any rate, it's a great, great knife. I just can't think. I keep wanting to say Mordax, but it's not Mordax. this thing is just an incredible knife. It was a gift. Wouldn't ever go anywhere. And then this final knife, like I said, they're all on equal footing. This knife belonged to Elijah Isham. And if you guys remember, Elijah Isham passed away here a few years ago. He's a very good friend of mine. This knife came home with me from a knife show because he had chipped the blade and he asked me if I could sharpen it. He's like, he told me I was the only person he trusted to do it. And I did it, and I kept trying to get the knife back to him. After I'd had the knife for about a year and a half, I was like, bro, just come out here to San Diego and pick up this knife. And he goes, you know what? I don't need it. Just keep it. He's like, I'll come out, but you can keep the knife. And that was one of the last conversations I ever had with Elijah Isham. And this was a knife that was done by Matt Diskin. Shortly after we had that conversation, we had worked up a plan on him to come out here and visit. He was going to crash on my couch for a couple weeks, and we were going to talk about some stuff. We're going to film some videos together. We're going to make some knives together. That's when he passed away. And so the last conversation I had with him, we talked about this knife. He gave me this knife. Actually, he had given me the knife before that. It was a conversation before. The last conversation I had with him was to make a plan for him to come out here to visit. And so that's why those are my favorite knives. So hopefully that answers your question. I'm sorry if it took so long to answer it. The Micro Jimbo is a full flat grind better than a hollow grind, people say. Okay. Do I have an auto Buck 110, Vladimir asks. I do not. Pizza Lover Forever. Crazy Sharp, what's your favorite self-defense? Self-defense towards fixed blades? I don't know. I don't know exactly what we're talking about, but I think, I don't have it here, but there is a knife called the L'Ascension. It's a Bastinelli design done by Acheron Knives. I think that would be one of the best small fixed blade self-defense tools. Let's see, you guys are talking about, what's the best knife in your collection in terms of use and function, says L. McPhail. Use and function, I think it's a tie between these two knives. And one's a lot more affordable than the other one. So the first one is the Spyderco PM2. And I've said I think this is the perfect EDC. As far as use and function, I think that this really, really has it in spades. This is an S90V version. They have it in a bunch of different steels. I actually added a sharpening choil to mine because I got tired of slamming into the nailing my stones into the plunge on this. Probably the best lock. I honestly think that the compression lock is the best lock on the market. I like the Shark lock. I like the Axis lock. I like a lot of locks. I like the what's the one that Cold Steel was using? The Triad lock as far as strength. This is the best all-around knife. And then a close second for just how well it cuts and overall quality materials and everything is this one. This is the Lumia by Strand Grabber Performance Knives. Now this is a knife that on the secondary market is going to cost you about $900 to $1,100. I did not buy this knife. I did a review of this knife. It was here for so long. I told Alex I was going to send it back to him. He goes, you know what, just keep it. Like, I don't even make them in crew wear anymore. He's like, just keep it. That one's yours. And this has been just an amazing knife all around. It's just frightening how good it cuts and how sharp it is. So William Sapula says, I am very partial to locks that you can release without part of your hand crossing the path. Spyderco has two notable ones. The Super Lock on the Vision. Oh, yeah, okay. I don't like that knife. The Vision. They came out and they were like, oh, we modified it and changed it. And I did a video where I showed the flaw with that knife. It was fucking horrible. It would come unconnected from the blade. The lock would just come disconnected. And they're like, oh, no, that's a feature so you could clean it. And I was like, you're full of shit. You fucking didn't pay attention to how you put that knife together. And you could literally, while manipulating the original Vision, disconnect the lock, and then the blade would just swing free. And people are like, oh, you did that on purpose. I'm like, I literally did it by accident. I did it by accident several times, and in a pair of thicker material jeans, it happened going in pocket, and when I pulled it out, the blade was all just nimbly bimbly. A pocket knife in the CEO style. I don't have it here right now. There is one that's done. Oh, Jesus. You're going to make me get up and go to the studio. I don't know. I know one that would be really good. There's one out in the studio. I'm not going back out there. Oh, hell. God damn it. All right, let's go. We'll go get it. Hang on. I'm going to have all my knives that I own in here in the house before too long. My wife is like, no knives in the house. No knives in the house. Oh, hang on. It's called the Solstice. Can't remember the company that did it. I have an affiliate link for them. The KATSU Solstice. Awesome, awesome knife. Very similar as CEO design. Nice and thin. Still a great, great cutter. Very, very small, very thin knife. It's the last time I'm coming out here. I say that, but I'm guaranteeing you, one of you guys is going to ask me a question. I'm going to be like, I got to go back out there. Now that I got laid off and I can sleep at night again, I don't have to try to sleep through all the noise that you hear out there. They're doing roadside cleanup and stuff late. I have not, Mad Yoko. You're from Ohio? Where at in Ohio, bro? I'm from Ohio. Mad Yoko, I'm from Ohio. I'm from Coshocton, Ohio. I'm actually from Fresno, Ohio, outside of Coshocton. So if you go from Coshocton into West Lafayette, and when you hit West Lafayette, you head north, you wind up in Fresno, out near Chili. What's the purpose of the egg cartons? Okay, so before I got these microphones, and I was filming, so Pizza Lover Forever, what's the purpose of the egg cartons on top of the ceiling in the garage? I just haven't taken them down. So I had a horrible echo, and I tried so much stuff to do it, and I had taken down almost all of them, but I put egg crates. The entire wall was egg crates. The entire ceiling was egg crates. There was egg crates from here to Christmas out there. I was getting egg crates from my friends and neighbors. And I took most of them down, and I just never, I think there's like 4 out there. That's the whole point, that they were out there. I tried using, it reached a point where I was using wet towels and stuff. And I just could never find anything that did it. I had a dry cell that did a good job, but when I would do the top-down stuff, I still got a weird echo. With these wireless microphones, because I'm currently transmitting to the receiver that's connected to the phone, I have no issues with that. And if I do have echo, it's easy to remove. There's so much better audio with these microphones. Jared recommended these to me, and now that I've got the new camera, I have a problem where I can't connect, but I discovered that there's the ability to save all of my audio on here. So I'm going to start doing the make a snap, and then that way I have a mark to start my audio clip, and then I just trim everything to match on each segment, and I just record each segment individually by pushing on that button. There were so many things I tried to do to make the videos better, and still strive to make the videos better. What does Mad Yogo says? Oh, Marblehead, yeah, up near Cedar Point, right? Cedar Point. Haha, thanks. North of Sandusky, right on Lake Erie. Yeah, Sandusky. So if you guys don't know, Sandusky, Ohio, well, that's where Cedar Point is. That's what popped into me. You said Marblehead, and the first thing that popped in my head was Cedar Point. So there's 36 of you here, but I guarantee the 36 of you that are here aren't the 45 people that have dropped a like button. So if you're here, please drop a like button. Drop a like, hit the like button. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. But if you'd really like to support the channel, considering I just got laid off, there's a super chat, super thanks, and I have paid memberships down below. Oh, another budget knife that I absolutely recommend. This is the Corgi Pup by Vosteed Knives. This is a great, great knife. I'm typically not into the orange, but on this, I dig it. I dig it. As a matter of fact, this shows up in the video that I just sent out to the members. So there's a members only video that went up. Well, it'll be members only for a little bit, and then it'll be scheduled. Today is Monday. You'll probably see a video Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. That's my plan on releasing videos. Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. Those are the days that videos seem to do the best. Mad Yoko says, Cedar Point rules. I have a season pass. I'm trying to sell it to get more knives. Cedar Point is an amusement park. They used to, I think that the tagline was America's Roller Coast, because they have like the largest number of roller coasters. They have a larger number of roller coasters than any other amusement park their size. I remember when I was a kid, there was they expanded the park and filled everything in, but you would like be at the entrance of the park, you get on the cable cars, and you would take the cable cars down, and you got off the end, and then there was another set of cable cars that took you out on an island, and they had a lion-tiger hybrid that was out there, and it had a bunch of stuff. There was like a river cruise, like almost like the river cruise, like the river cruise ride at Disneyland and things like that. I remember that. Kennywood Park is in southern Ohio, down towards Cincinnati. I've been there as well. So, where's Kennywood? There's like 3, you know. Kings Island is the one I'm thinking of that was down towards Cincinnati. You know, Kennywood Park. Some knives have a bounce. Some knives have a bounce that can be explained due to just how free the action is on it. This Grimsmo Norseman. So 0 Bites 2000 says, I developed a pet peeve for all knives that bounce on close. Do you notice the bounce? I do notice the bounce. Sometimes it bothers me, sometimes it doesn't. This knife is the smoothest knife ever. And it does bounce. Do you hear it bounce back in? That's what he's talking about. But that is simply because this knife is the smoothest. So wait, the River Cruise is still there, but you don't. Okay. Maybe I just didn't see it though. I went with my wife. My wife and I came from Japan to visit my family the one time, and we went to Cedar Point, and I don't remember it being there. I remember it was cold as shit that day though. The Civivi, okay, so William Sapora, the Civivi Pyrite Light has gotten some notice as a budget knife. FRN handles with nested steel liners, button lock, $40 retail. Here's the thing. You can get the regular Pyrite for $50. I don't see it as being that much more of a value. You can get a Pyrite. You can get it's not Civivi, by the way. It's CJRB. You can get the Pyrite, the original Pyrite, for like $50. Why give up all that you get with a regular Pyrite with steel liners or, you know, with steel handles? It's really light and it's no worse. Why give all that up for only saving $10? You really aren't saving that. They're like, oh, we're gonna do the Pyrite Light. It'll be a budget version. I was like, the fucking Pyrite's already only $50. Like, how much cheaper are you trying to go? I'm not a big fan of FRN handles to begin with. That was one of my big, what do you call it? It was a big pet peeve with Spyderco for a while, was like how expensive their FRN handled knives were. And I'm like, bro, like it just doesn't make sense. Ooh. My jaw still hurt. My upper jaw still hurt really bad last night. I'm still kind of bruised and swollen. Still a little bit swollen and red. Like I said, I had a severe infection. So yeah, it's still pretty swollen. After they pulled that tooth, though, it felt a lot better. I like the color scheme and the cutting edge is a bit longer. I mean, like, if you like it, that's fine. I'm just saying, like, sometimes I don't understand the decisions that knife companies make. So, what else cool stuff do I have that we could talk about? Oh, I wanted to point this one out. This is a company that I don't think gets enough attention. It's Finch Knives. Their knives are just absolutely incredible every time. Like, every time. They're incredible. This is the Stinger by Finch Knives, and it's got black ebony handles with that glass plate with the glow-in-the-dark logo behind it. Just an amazing knife. And then buffalo tooth. For as weird as this knife looks, holy crap, is this good. Absolutely an amazing knife. And the reason I like it so much is on these bigger knives like this, when you don't have to close your hand down as tight, you don't have to engage as many muscles. And so the cutting you do is easier. Your hands don't get fatigued, especially as you get older like me. And like I said, I've got a lot of nerve damage in that arm. It's easier for me to hold a knife like this. And then you can get way up on this and just really dig. Yeah, I live outside of Amish country. We have actually, I live in Amish country, to tell you the truth. Which Finch? So Mark Ayoko says, oh, thank you. The first one, yeah, the Finch Stinger, great knife. I absolutely love this one. This is the jigged titanium. Now, I have to say, these knives were sent to me by Finch Knives. And they were really cool. This thing is just an amazing knife. I need to talk to them about getting some of their newer models and doing a video. So, Scalping Your TP says, I don't understand how Spyderco gets away with charging so much for plastic because they call it FRN. Plus, they remove the liners so they have no integrity. That is one of the things I don't like about the FRN handled Spydercos now. I have an older Spyderco FRN handled Endura that's in ZDP 189. And nice outdoor stuff. Are you talking about Hirschbergers in Millersburg? Are you talking about Hirschbergers? Just asking, because I think we're talking about the same place. Okay, I don't like Rex 45, and I don't like Maximat. Well, Rex 45 is not bad. I don't like Max, but at any rate, I don't like the Mannix. Like I said, there's only a handful of designs that Spyderco makes that I like. And it's just 100% an aesthetic thing. I don't like anything about most of their knives. It's their design. I mean, even this one's ugly. This is not an attractive knife. Their knives are ugly, and it's comfortable. The problem I have with the Mannix is I don't like the way it looks, and I don't like the way it feels in hand. I never have liked the Mannix. I didn't like the Natives series. I want to try the Native Chief. I want to get one. I was online with every intention of buying a Native Chief for the channel. And when I was going through the Spyderco stuff, I saw this and I'm like, well, shit, I'm not getting a Native Chief because I have wanted a military for a long time. And when I saw that the Military 2 was available in like the best possible configuration, the Crew Carta version, the Micarta and Crewwear version, I'm like, okay, I know what I'm getting. So I didn't get the Native Chief, but that's okay because the reason I was still looking and the reason I got this was the only ones that popped up were the S30V versions, and I hate S30V. So I just don't like the Mannix, and like I said, I didn't like the Native series. They have a Gale Bradley. The Gale Bradley that they have is beautiful. That is a great knife. I did a video about it. I actually gave one away. it had a weird lock on it. It was a flipper with a compression. So, well, Al, I used to drive to Newtown Mall in New Philadelphia all the time. As a matter of fact, as you get off the highway coming into New Philadelphia from where I live, you get off and there's a roller skating rink just down on the bottom street. And I used to go there. I was actually dating a girl that I met at the roller rink, and I would go there every Friday night and Saturday night. You know what? I've never tried. So Anthony Trojan says, do you folks get the half off Spyderco knives if you sign up for the Vet LEO program? I don't know. I've never done it. I didn't even think about it when I never even thought about it. I just saw that this was available on Blade HQ, and I get points on Blade HQ. As a matter of fact, I didn't get this at Blade HQ. It was out of stock at Blade HQ when I went. It's back in stock now. I got this at GP Knives, I think, or Knives Ship Free. Dukakin, Duck a King, Duke a King. Anyway, what about the Benchmade bug out versus the Griptilian? I wouldn't buy either one. If I wanted a bug out, I would get a Hogue Deca, and if I wanted a Griptilian, I would get a Hogue Ritter. Benchmade will never get a penny of my money ever again. They are fucking people royal. And since I've dropped so many F-bombs, you guys might want to think about dropping some super chats, because I'm definitely going to wind up getting this live feed demonetized, if you would be so kind. Or just join a membership, but at the most, drop a like. It's free. Double tap that screen. The best Benchmades you're going to buy are done by Hogue. Like, Benchmade knives are not worth anything these days, and they're charging like a ton of money for them. Some of their knives are $600–700, and they come all effed up. The best Benchmade knives you're going to find are probably on Hogue's website, and Hogue does it better for cheaper. So Al says the roller rink is now a Harbor Freight. That makes sense. It's a pretty good sized place. So William Sapora says, I was able to get a Manix 2 LW with Rex 45. I can deal with the handle because the Rex 45 is really good when you have a lot of cardboard. Fortunately, my hands are pretty well fit for the handle. Yeah, Benchmade sucks. Yeah, Cameron Chicken 84. Scalping your teepee. That's why I like it. I feel the same way about Benchmade. Here's the thing. It's sad. It used to be a time where, like, if you were in the military and you got a Benchmade knife, that was the best knife you could probably get ever. So it was the best knife you were ever going to get issued. And there's a couple of them out there still. The Crooked River is a really good knife. I wouldn't pay what they want for it, but it's a really good knife. Benchmade will never get a penny of my money ever again. They just, too much that they're charging for all their stuff. I felt that way about Spyderco for a while, but then, like I said, that has changed. Eric has changed and kind of went back the direction that Sal was. Like he's changed course. He was. I honestly, at a knife show one time, somebody was like, "Why don't you go over and talk to Spyderco?" I was like, "Can't. Eric's there, and I'm gonna guarantee that I'm going to look at him dead in the eye and go, how's it feel to piss away your dad's company?" And the complete course change has been like going back the direction of the Spyderco that I knew and loved. And I'm really happy about it. And now I think I could go to the Spyderco table and talk to him. The Adamas. Yeah, Ben, I was getting ready to say the Adamas is a good one. I'm going to tell you a company you need to check out, and there's a link down below to them. They're actually doing my folding knife, and that's KATSU. I have an affiliate link down below in the description of this video for KATSU Knives, and they're doing just some incredible work. This is a full convex ZDP 189 core pattern welded Damascus, like 17 layers. It's really, really cool. Spyderco looks the same as 10 years ago. Nothing new there. It's not the looks. It was the way they were marketing, the price changes, the money grab stuff of like doing, oh, you can get all these different colors and things like that. And it just was kind of, they were kind of becoming the Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon cards of the knife world. So I'm glad that they kind of went back to just offering quality, and they still do offer different versions of the knife, but they've really focused on getting heat treat correct and things like that. I said that a bunch of times. This, the S90V heat treat, or the heat treat on this S90V in this Spyderco PM2 is it is the best heat treat I've ever had on a knife. Outside of a custom knife that was done with a custom heat treat, like small batch. This is the best production heat treat I've had on a knife in S90V production. It's just amazing how good this heat treat is. And their crew wear as well. This has not even been sharpened yet, and I've done a lot with it. It's been stropped, it's been touched up on an ultra-fine ceramic, but that's still the factory edge. Just touch the edge up on that ultra-fine, not actually even sharpen it. Just kind of just touch it up and then hit it on strop with 9 micron diamond spray on it that I got from Lace over at EDC and Lace. Lacey has got some of the best spray-on diamond compounds. You're never going to find another spray-on diamond compound that has that much like diamond in it. It's not an emulsion, so you got to shake it really good, but man, hit her up on Instagram if you need strop compound. It is the best I've had so far. Rogue Decas have Magna Cut heat treat dial. Yeah, the Hogue. Okay, so I did have a Hogue Deca that came in Magna Cut, and they ran the heat treat way too low on it, and it just did not perform very well. But as far as knife itself, still such a good knife. And the Deca is just a good knife. Like if you want a bug out, don't buy an actual bug out. Go buy a Hogue Deca. You're going to get a better knife in the long run, and you're going to get it cheaper. When I was talking about the Benchmade 940, this knife is right in the same price range as the Benchmade 940. But what you get is a much better knife. You get titanium, micarta inlays, beautiful looking knife. This is a hollow grind, and it actually cuts, and it's an M390, which is a better steel than anything that Benchmade is putting in the 940. And you're going to get it at around the same price. If you look at an S90V 940, I think they're 220, 230. This is absolutely around the same price. I think these were 230, 240. And you get a better knife. Native Chief serrated or plain edge. I don't like serrated blades. I don't. They have their place. They do a pretty good job for some things. I just don't. I just don't think that serrated blades are good for day-to-day stuff. If you're cutting a line all the time, like if you work on a ship, you work on a boat and you're cutting line, if you're a sailor, absolutely, serrated might be the way to go. I just do not like serrated edges for most day-to-day tasks. Duke of King, what do you think? Should I get a ZT-045? I don't think anyone should get a ZT. Another company. High prices, poor quality, inconsistencies with the quality control, and their locks fail on a regular basis. Like, I don't do spine whack. I'll do a spine tap, but a lot of times what I'll do instead of, I need a bigger knife so I can show you. So I can show you because I would use this one. What I do instead of a spine whack, because I don't think spine whacks are a good idea, and the shock going through can allow the lock bar to vibrate over, and then you'll have a lock failure, and you can also damage your knife that way. You can damage your lock interface. The best way to test a lock is you get it like this, and you do constant pressure, and I'm a pretty strong dude, and so I'll get on here, and if you don't feel any play in that lock, you're okay. That's a much better test than a spine whack. Spine whacks are dumb. Spine whacks are a good way to damage your knife, get a false fail, and the fact is, who the hell even does that with their knife? Like, what are you going to be doing where you hit something with the back of your knife? If you're doing that, you shouldn't have a knife. Like, someone should look at you and go, give me that. You can't have a knife. Premier Outdoors north of Mount Hope, Ohio. No, I know where you're talking about, but that's not the place I was talking about either. Hogue deckas now look like a very good way to go for magnet cut blade. They've improved how they heat treat the steel. Yeah, Hogue is one of those companies that haven't been making knives as long as everybody thinks they have. And so for them to have improved what they're doing so much, so quickly, it's impressive. You guys need to get on, Alex Steingraber's mailing list so that when he does another batch of these, that you get notified, because he can't advertise them the way he wants on his website, because the company he has his website through, like, apparently they talk about taking his shit down. This is annoying. This is annoying. I have yet to figure out how to make this lapel mic work with a t-shirt. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, but typically, for something like that, if I'm working on something where I'm reaching around and I'm being I'm using a fixed blade anyway. Want to check out Ohio Armor near me. I was told half of their shop is nothing but knives. Ohio Armament is a really cool place. You definitely need to go check that out. But at any rate, like I said, Alex, awesome dude. We've made friends over the last couple years. I absolutely love what he's doing. So KME, I would say the KME, yeah. KME is probably the best one. I wish that they had longer stones. The KME stones are a little bit short. I don't like the way they recommend you to like saw back and forth. You're going to get inconsistencies, places you go over the edge too much. But in all honesty, as far as a fixed angled system, yeah, it's a pretty good way. I still recommend that everybody just learn to do it on a stone. So guys, we've been going for about 118 minutes, just shy of 2 hours. I am going to have to get off here. I got to take the dog for a walk. And I'm still not feeling great. I don't know if you can see it. Bags around my eyes. I did not sleep well last night. My mouth still hurt really bad because, well, they pulled my tooth and it was sore. So, like I said, feel way better today. I don't have a fever. So I'll try and post up. I'll try to post up the picture of what I looked like. It looked like I had chewing tobacco in my mouth. It was so swollen that it looked like I was chewing on chewing tobacco. It was pretty rough looking. So, and like I said, I knew something was wrong. I didn't feel good for a few days. Like I was running a low-grade fever. My head hurt, my neck hurt. I go like this, like my jaw, but it didn't hurt in my tooth. But then when I woke up yesterday, my face was all swollen up, red, hot to the touch, and I was running a fever, and I had a bad headache, and I was like, I knew exactly, the second I touched it, and it was like in the tooth, I knew exactly what was wrong. I knew exactly what was wrong. And if it had been, like I said, the fact that the root was split all the way down through, and apparently it had been cracked like that for a while, and it just got infected. I have a really high pain tolerance. I just didn't really, I knew that my teeth hurt after I fell. I fell and hit my chin, slammed my teeth together, cracked that tooth. But the one next to it was the one that we had all the trouble with, where the filling came out, and then they put They repaired it and all that. This, they were like, we can't do anything. I was like, how did it not get cut on the X-rays? And they're like, you know, we focus on specific things when we do the X-rays, and if we didn't like focus right on it, if we weren't focused right on it, we might not have seen it. And I was like, well, that explains it. So they're like, we can't do anything. We have to pull that tooth. So and she said that it was pus. There was like pus up in there that came out, and I have had some drainage from the actual socket while it's been healing all day yesterday. But yeah, feeling way better. Just got a hole in my mouth. But it didn't stop me from eating. Like on my way home, I stopped by DZ Aikens, and I had no, not DZ Aikens, Family House Pancakes, and stopped and ate with my buddy. I had corned beef hash, home fries, pancakes, and eggs. And he was like, "Didn't you just have a tooth pull?" I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "What? So doesn't it hurt?" And I was like, not anywhere near as much now as it did before they pulled the tooth. Here is the thing that sucks, and I have to tell all you guys this because everybody's like, "Oh, getting a tooth pulled sucks." I'm allergic to Novocaine. I want you to think about how I felt yesterday. Once it was out, like I was like, "Oh, thank God." So that should tell you how my day went. They couldn't numb me. So at any rate, guys, it's been 2 hours. I'm not gonna keep this going. It's been a lot of fun. I may do this again tomorrow. Yeah, Mad Yoko, here's the thing. I have an insane pain tolerance. It's actually a detriment. That's why shoulders hurt. When I realized my shoulder hurt, the doctor was like, I don't know how you let it get this bad. And I was like, because it didn't hurt. So it's just been a running thing that my super high pain tolerance has caused things to get way beyond repairable real easily. So guys, I love y'all. Thanks for hanging out. If you did not subscribe, please subscribe. If you didn't hit that like button. If you want to join the membership down below, there's a link, but there are a bunch of stuff. I have a new affiliate with the camera that I use to film the video that paying members have today. Everybody else will get to see that probably next week. My vitamin D levels are fine. Trust me. I get plenty of sun and I take vitamin D supplement. At any rate, yeah, we're going to end this. I'm going to get something done. I got to take the dog for a walk, do a couple things. So think about joining my memberships, but if you're going to buy any knives, affiliate links are down below. Go to those companies, but take my Amazon store, pin it to your browser, and use it for all your Amazon shopping. Guys, I'm out of here. I love y'all. I'll talk to you later.